Us might recall a gentleman named Mickey Edwards. He was a Republican congressman from the outskirts of Oklahoma City, I think, in the mid-90s, and he's a professor now somewhere. But he wrote a great book about a decade ago called The Parties versus the People. And in the book, he laments his time in Congress, how the RNCCC or the RCCC used to breathe down his neck to spend 2-3 hours a day making fundraising calls. And he finally decided to leave Congress. And one of the things he writes about in this book is this interesting history lesson. He notes that in the early 1900s, Tammany Hall ran everything. The machinery told us who we could vote for, when we could vote, who was going to be on the ballot, who could even run. And the progressive era of American politics in the early 1900s, of which Theodore Roosevelt was a spearhead, ushered in the idea of the modern political party. Brought some sunlight to the process, a little bit of transparency. And then he writes that fast forward 100 years, the political parties, primarily the two big ones, are the new Tammany Hall. We decide who gets to run, we get to decide what people are going to vote for. Now, on the one hand, as a partisan and a member of one of those parties, I should like this law because if it becomes law and goes into effect, of the 300,000 plus unaffiliated voters, they're going to show up one day and they're going to expect to vote in one primary. They're going to be told by the clerk, oh, I'm sorry, you can't. They're going to begrudgingly vote in my primary, and I'm going to see a huge uptick in the number of Democratic ballots cast. Yay! But what's good for parties is not what's good for people. Sometimes it is, but this is not one of those instances. This bill is good for the two big political parties, but it is not good for Idahoans, and I'd urge your red light.